going on, everybody? What is going on? Smell Good family. Smell Good family. What is going on today? Hopefully everybody's having a great and fantastic Thursday. Hopefully everyone is doing well. We're back for yet another live stream here, of course, on YouTube. All right. So very excited today. I'm happy that this was able to work out the way that it did. I kind of teased it last Thursday as I got confirmation from our special guest tonight. So we have one of my biggest inspirations in this whole like YouTube journey, and just a lot of little things that Justin has provided to the community, but really for me personally. And he's become my favorite reviewer, content creator, and just really enjoy his content. So I'm very happy to have Mr. Justin Copeland with us here tonight. Smell Good family. We want to bring him on in about 7 minutes or so, and we're going to have some conversation. I'm going to take some questions from you guys, but I have some questions for Justin selfishly. So I'm going to definitely answer those. So drop your sentence of the days. What are you wearing? What's your vibe like? I know a lot of y'all have been commenting on the thumbnail before when I posted it last night. So I'm excited for everyone who has time and made themselves available to be here tonight. I do not take it for granted. Positive energy, positive vibes. All my moderators who are with me tonight, I appreciate y'all. Y'all, of course, do me a favor, watch over the chat, and let's keep it clean. Let's keep it fun. And we're going to have a great time tonight. All right, so we're going to hit the comments and see what you guys got going on tonight, because y'all are in here. Y'all are in here for sure. So first up, D. Da Vinci, the poet, was the first in tonight. Nice. JC is the man. Yes, sir. Glad to have him on tonight. Michael in the house. What's up, Mike? Hope you're doing well, my man. Looking forward to this. Dedrick and Justin Copeland talking fragrances. Scent of the day, Miami Tropical Confessions from City Rhythm. Very good. Very good fragrance. 290 Revolver. 290 is in the house saying, let's go with the muscle man. Glad you're with us tonight. Miss Heather. Hey, my name is Miss Heather. I see what you did there. YouTube royalty. Absolutely. In my opinion, and many of yours. Yes, sir. We have YouTube royalty in the house tonight. Mr. M.A. Styles. What's up, everyone? Scent of the day, FOMO by Asylum. Okay. All right. Him James in the house. This is going to be lit. I think so. I think you're right about that. He's back with YSL Tuxedo here tonight. Great fragrance. Rich Money Cash, one in the house, wearing Nazar fragrances, Nazar Street. And scent of the night for him is Nazar Black Butter. Man, I'm jealous. I want to get my nose on that black butter. I had a great conversation with Terrence yesterday, the owner of Nazar Fragrances, man. So we got some stuff coming up for y'all. So y'all stay tuned for that. But great house. Y'all check out Nazar, man. We had a great live stream a couple of weeks ago with Sips and Sniffs, and it was fantastic. Scott Martin in the house. What's up, Scott? Glad you're rocking with us tonight. My guy Maurice in the house wearing Yeoman Law's Baywatch. Baywatch is a clone of, or inspired by, of Afternoon Swim from Louis Vuitton. Very good stuff. Very good. Hidden Gems in the house. What's up, man? What's good? We are here supporting the Fragrance Fam. Scent of the day, Genre Parfums. Imagine a Symphony. It's a mix of 2 Louis Vuittons. Well, which ones? Which ones, Jane? Hidden Gems, let me know. Which ones are they a mix of? The Bishop, Jared Miller in the house. It's go time. My man, my brother Jared. You were just talking to him right before we went on. So yes, sir, you are right. Jared was one of the few people who knew that Justin had secured. Let me know that I secured the interview to get him on, because that's my guy. Flaming Night 1236 in the house. What's going on? Hey to you, sir. John C, my man, what's going on? Senator Gallivant, Los Angeles. Great mix of pineapple, eucalyptus, and water nose. Sounds very interesting. Very interesting. Miss Leslie, how you doing tonight? Good afternoon, Smell Good fam. Miss Leslie, I didn't know you were in Jacksonville. Heather told me that you were in Jacksonville. I didn't know that. So shout out to you being from the city for sure. Terrence in the house. Yo, what's good, Smell Good family? Hope all is well with everyone. Scent of the day, Afnan Tarathi Blue. Great Tiger clone for sure. Very, very good fragrance. The Bishop. All right, my fellow mods, let's keep our eyes locked in tonight for sure, for sure. The fragrance connoisseurs in the house. What's up, my man? Glad that you're rocking with us tonight. What's up, Smell Good family? Scent of the day, Gentle Fluidity Silver. I know Justin loves that one, and it is really, really good, man. So shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. Thank you for watching tonight. Miss Leslie is wearing Yara's house. I believe that's how that is pronounced. I could be butchering it, so forgive me, but I'm sure you are smelling fantastic, Miss Leslie. King Eros in the house and Daddy Copeland. I'll be sure to let him know that you are absolutely a fan for sure. Everybody showing love in the chat. Dan and Malik saying, what's up? What's good, my guy? Beardson, what's up, my man? What's up, D and the Smell Good family? Hope you and the family are well. Thank you, man. Hopefully you and your family are doing good too. Sitting of the day, Dior Om Intense. Well, sir, you're smelling fantastic for sure. Let's see. So much love in the chat. Everybody giving their pleasantries. Dan, not the man in the house. One of the great names on YouTube. What's up with you? We got my brother Tyrone Koppel, Cedric Farr in the house. My good family. Hope all is well, everyone. Sent the other day, Vintage Green from Banana Republic. Can't go wrong with that. One of the top inexpensive cheapies of all time. You get some fig. You get some cedar wood. You get some musk. You get some tea. A green tea note, really, really good stuff. Then not the man wearing citrine. Whew. I love citrine. I love it. MPG fragrance in the house. Smell good family. Today, Zaharoff Seraphine Blue. I see a lot of Seraphine Blue. I know it is running wild out here. Everybody's getting their bottles. My bottle is supposed to be here tomorrow. And if all goes well, because it was a close call with Black Rose. Me and the Bishop did a live stream talking Black Rose, and the bottle got here the day of the stream, like an hour before before the stream. So we was able to make it happen. But if all goes well, me and the Bishop Jared Miller will be giving our first impressions Saturday of Seraphine Blue. So keep out for that. First impressions live, Seraphine Blue on Saturday. Dame in the house, we're in the building tonight. Is special. Yes, sir. Seraphine Blue. My God. Okay. I'm not, if anybody's telling me about Seraphine Blue, I'm gonna keep it rolling. I don't want to know. I'm going to see. I barely can watch Ross because I know for a fact that he loves it. So I gotta turn it off when he starts getting there because I don't want to be influenced by any way, even though that's my man's for sure. All right, y'all. We got so much love in the chat. So much love. Kevin in the house. Good evening. Good evening to you. We got my Unc CJ nephew, brother Copeland. I am stoked. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. You were also another slim few that knew Justin was coming on. Memphis, Tennessee in the house. Steadily. Great stuff. Can't go wrong with that ever in the summertime for sure. Dame in the house. Hit that like button, everyone. So glad y'all are here for sure. We have an incredible crowd. 135 people right now. Hit that thumbs up. We're going to bring Justin on in literally 1 minute. And I'm going to have to skip to the chat. Through the chat, I see everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Selly in the house, John in the house, Dimes FG is in the house wearing Hashiva today. Great stuff. Well, I like Hashiva X better. I ain't gonna lie. I like Hashiva X better to tell the truth, but Hashiva is still good. All right. Let's see. We got my sister Shoshana in the house. What's going on? Chris in the house. Showing love. Dutch the Bible Thumper too. Okay, in the house. Wearing Mancera Silver Blue. Mancera Silver Blue. Great stuff. Manier in the house. Ronald in the house. Dan, not the man, grabbed another bottle of Business Over Pleasure. I think that's what you're saying. That's a lucky steal for sure. All right, y'all. So we are going to, Maurice, say break the like button, but not your device. Okay, Maurice, I see you getting witty with it. All right, y'all. So we're going to have to skip ahead. I'm sorry, my guys. I got a Sally in the house again. Everybody in here. My wife, my baby love in the house. Hey, y'all. Hey, showing love as always. And all right, we're going to turn it down. John Caesar, I see you in the house wearing Pacific Moss. Great fragrance for sure. Is Josh in here? I think I seen Josh. Josh, where you at? Did I skip you? That's my guy, Josh. I don't want to skip my guy. There he is. Sin of the Day, Royal Paradise by Nazar. Josh is in the house. All right, y'all. So we are, man, the chat is crazy. I've never even had this kind of chat before. Maybe once or twice, but it's wild. So I'm going to have to scroll down to the bottom. I see my guy, Ross. Glad to see everybody show up and show out. That's my brother, FWO for life. Shout out to my main man, Ross. All right. Here we go, guys. Let me turn this music down, and we're going to bring in our special guest tonight for sure. All right, everybody. I'm very excited, very looking forward to this very, very much. So I'm gonna, me and Justin, we're gonna talk, and I'm gonna tell him some things that I'm been wanting to, hoping to get the chance to speak to him one day, and we're gonna do that. But tonight is it's big time. I've only been on YouTube for, it'll be 3 years in July since the channel had started. And I've said this several times, one of the few people that started to inspire me, TLTG reviews, Bowtie the Fragrance Guy, Justin Copeland, Big Beer Business. Those are the first core guys that I saw when I realized, or when I was told, that there was a fragcom. And I said, what is fragcom? What is that? So I looked into it, and I had a group of friends. We call ourselves Frag Boys ENT, corny, but one of the greatest factions of all time. Shout out Kevin, shout out Cedric. And they started saying, yeah, it's YouTube. There's fragrance reviewers on YouTube. And I was literally laying in bed one night, just really relaxing, me and my wife. And I just typed in fragrance reviews. And the first few people to pop up, Big Beard B, Ross, Justin, and Bowtie. So I started watching all their videos. And we'll get into more later. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to bring on my special guest. You guys know him. He's knocking on the door to 100K. I hope we can get him there soon, because if anybody deserves it, he definitely does, with the content that he provides, with the thinking that he bestows on us, the different methods, the different titles. Such a great, so many great ideas and so many great things that he does. Without further ado, Mr. Justin Copeland. Drop fire in the chat for Mr. Copeland.
Dedrick,
my man, how you doing?
So much, man. I'm great. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored by your words. Yeah, I just got so many things on my mind. It was just great seeing you, talking to the viewers. Thank you all for being here as well. And yeah, I just want to commend you, man, for just creating such a strongly positive community within your channel. I know that is something that is not easy to do as a creator. And I just think that being a light in front of the camera, as you are, it really helps to filter those who choose to spend their time watching you and engaging with you. And the results of that are obvious. So just want to commend you on that, because that in itself is the work that is kind of beneath the veil as a creator. Rather, it's not just making videos, it's creating the kind of culture you want to have on your channel. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I really do. Thank you very much, man. So much. That means a lot to me for sure. And speaking of, hey, I know these guys. Shout out Ross.
What's up, Ross?
With the $10 super chat, my friend. Thank you so much, man, for showing that support. No doubt. So shout out to my man Ross. My wife says, I see this man's face on my TV literally every day. She ain't lying, man.
I'm honored by that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so Consuela, good to see you.
Absolutely. So before we get started, man, I was touching on my journey. I've been in the fragrances since I was 13 years old. I'm not going to tell the whole story, and this might be the first time you've heard it. But my dad, when I was 13 years old, I wanted a leather jacket really bad. It was kind of the thing, you know what I'm saying? So I want a leather jacket, and I begged my parents, can I get a leather jacket for Christmas to wear to school? All my friends, all that. So they got me real good. Christmas came around, open gifts, and I at the time didn't have the leather jacket. And then my pops brought out the leather jacket like after a couple of minutes had went by. So I popped open the box, and there was another box inside. So on top of the leather jacket was a bottle of Calvin Klein's Obsession. So that was the fragrance I used to steal from him. He would leave and wouldn't be at home. I'd spray it on. Yes. He knew it was me. He knew it was me.
Of course.
He bought my own bottle of Calvin Klein's Obsession. So that's where it started. So throughout the years, I continue to, enjoy fragrances, collect fragrances, and have just admiration. But I never thought that I would ever get to the point where I would be reviewing fragrances, Justin. And then to fast forward to guys like yourself, what is it that number one, what got you into fragrances? Like, what was the starting point for you? Then what made you start to collect? Was it an accident? Like, how did it happen? And then it's a 3-part question. How did you start reviewing fragrances on YouTube?
All great questions, and very succinctly put. So I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't have a divine calling to fragrances. I will say since I was a kid, maybe about the same age you were, 12, 13, I kind of had this natural fascination with smelling good, not so much fragrances themselves, but just the idea of smelling clean. Around that age, puberty's hitting, you're starting to stink, and you're like, you know what? What can I do about this? I think I see all these girls out here now. I want them to like me. So for me, it started, honestly, my mom, she would just start bringing home stuff because she was on the same wavelength. She's like, you're starting to smell, put on deodorant and wear this, wear some cologne at school. I'm like, okay. So she would bring stuff home, like random stuff. I remember this one bottle, it was blank. It had no label on it, no name. To this day, I can like conjure the smell of it in my head, and I hate it. But I don't know what it was, so synthetic and weird. But for me, it was mainly what it represented. It was like, I'm gonna put something on, so I'm trying to elevate my presence.
Right.
So it started early on in that way. And I mean, I've been through so much, like Bod Man. I remember I had a whole set of those back when they were in the little plastic bottles, wearing stuff like that. And then over time, over the years, I started to receive more fragrances as gifts. So by the time I was finishing high school, I actually had an anonymous crush, who I found out who she was later. She gifted me with Chanel Allure Homme for my birthday. And I remember I just found it in my locker one day. I was like, dang, Chanel, what is this? So honestly, I wasn't ready for that fragrance at the time. It was a little bit too classy for me. So I didn't really appreciate it. Ended up actually like going on a trip, had to get on an airplane and didn't realize I had it in my backpack. Couldn't get through security with it. So they ended up taking it. And again, I didn't appreciate it that much. So it was gone. And I was like, oh, well. But realizing later, I'm like, dang, that's careless. And then later on, I think I got to college. I had a girlfriend at the time gift me with David Beckham's Signature, which is this little rectangular purple juice, watermelon, aquatic, very synthetic, but nice. And I actually rocked that as a signature for a few years, like all through college. And into grad school, I basically was rocking David Beckham, not really thinking about, variety and fragrances, not thinking about collecting. None of that was on the radar. I just was like, I just want to smell good. So then later on, I had another person gift me with Acqua di Gio, my first bottle of ADG.
Classic.
Yes. And this was probably, I don't know, this was easily 15 years ago. And I remember wearing that for a bit. And honestly, I didn't really appreciate that one at the time. It wasn't my favorite, but this girl really liked it. So I wore it for her. And in a similar circumstance of carelessness, I was at a hotel or something with the bottle, and it was like hard linoleum floors, and I dropped the bottle. It's shattered. And I was like, oh no. But again, I was like, I didn't love it anyway. But she was right there. She was not happy. She was like, yeah, it was expensive. Boy. Oh, my bad. Anyway, so fast forward a little bit, and I still have a bottle of David Beckham. Even after losing that Acqua di Gio, I'm still wearing that. And I am sitting at home one day. I'm in grad school. It's the summertime, so I'm just on break. I'm in my apartment, and I had just finished that bottle of David Beckham.
Right.
And I was like, and it was my second or third one at that point. And I was like, do I want to get another bottle of this? I'm like, not really. I think I want to change it up. And for the first time in my life, get a fragrance for me, like myself. Up to this point, it was always gifts or hand-me-downs or gifts or whatever. So I said, okay, where do I go for this? Well, I went to Google, which is the worst thing you could do, like cologne for men. And as you can imagine, like 800,000 billion results. I'm like, I don't even know where to click on that. And I didn't want to go to a store, like a department store, because I didn't want to be assaulted and pressured by any associates or anything, you know. So then I'm like, you know what? I wonder if people talk about fragrances on YouTube.
Oh,
I
wow.
highly doubt it, but let me just see. Oh my gosh, see.
Sir Snifferton, he's the best.
Man, you bring so much joy to my life in
He's
many
a great
ways.
dude.
Many ways. So I went on YouTube. I just did a search. I said, all right, cologne for men. Let's see what comes up. It's probably gonna be nothing. And then bam. I'm like,
Just bang.
Fragcom? What is? And then, you know, I spent the next like 3 months of that summer just like binging. I mean, Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, Drac Doc, Red Adolescence, you know, Jeremy Fragrance at the time, like everyone who was, you know, who was really making, I think Mr. Smelly had just started around that time. So I was in it. At the time, Fragcom was about this big. You maybe had like 30 like full-time creators, like guys who are making content on a weekly basis. Now it's countless, right? And I just remember falling in love with learning about fragrances. There's so much I didn't know. Like they use raw ingredients like apple and woods. Like I thought it was just chemicals. Like literally I was so ignorant, and realized just, you know, how much artistry was behind it all. So after that summer of binging probably thousands of videos, I was starting to collect along the way. I would see recommendations, and a lot of designer stuff, you know, this Chanel, Dior, whatever. I was just collecting stuff, and I had amassed a small collection of maybe like 16 to 20 fragrances that I was just like, that were my pride and joy. And by the end of that summer, and by the end of that small collection, I'm like, you know what? I think I have some opinions I want to share. So I'll start a channel. Why not? I'm like, no one's going to watch it, but it'll be fun. So my first fragrance video, which is still public, and I don't recommend going back to see it, is a top 10 fall list, top 10 fall fragrances 2016 or whatever. And I had this grand idea, which I'm glad I realized was a bad idea right away, that I would never show my face on camera. So if you watch that video, I'm literally sitting in a chair, and you can only see me from like the neck to the waist. You just see my shirt, and I'm just showing the fragrances. And I was like,
were you nervous?
No, I just I'm like, I just want to be creative. Like I saw these guys, they're just in front of the camera. I want to be different. So I'm just going to be like anonymous. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not keeping this up. So I dropped that idea right away. And yeah, from there, I was making a video like every week just for fun, just on stuff I liked. I was following all the trends, top 10 that, top 10 that, whatever. Just having a good time, and slowly realizing like, oh, people are subscribing. Wow, they're watching, you're commenting, what? And it just kind of grew from there. I had no plans for it to become what it's become today.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. That's the first couple of fragrances that you remember having relationships with were giving to you.
Totally.
And then after a while, you decided, hey, let me get something for myself. That's dope. That's dope. Because I never really get it. You know, I heard the interview you did with the Cologne podcast. I think it was late last year, I believe it was.
Like
and it was a really great interview. So I didn't really get it. That was the first time I got to kind of know you a little bit off just watching your videos. So a lot of questions I'm going to ask tonight are, you know, for the audience and people who really love your content, love what you represent, and, you know, to get a chance to get to know you a bit. So I'm going to tell you something, right? So one of the first videos I saw of you was you challenging the mindset, and I didn't know this yet. And you were talking about some of my favorite designer fragrances. So I'm listening to you talking. I said, wait a minute. he's kind of making me feel a little funny here about my my fragrance choices. So but I didn't get upset. I didn't get mad. It intrigued me, because I wanted to know why is he talking about them in this way? Like, what's What's the reasoning? What's the agenda here? And I'm a very curious person, right? So when things like that happen, I'm looking at you. You speak very well. You have a great you have a great quality, and everything's going really, really good. So I'm like, it's got to be something with it. So over time, researching and watching more videos, I said, okay, I see what he's doing here. I love the fact that you challenge the mindset of not what smells good. It's not about that on your channel. At least to me, that's what I connected with. It was about what is your true connection with this, number one. And then two, the explore method. You were talking to me about fragrances that I had no idea existed. I'm like, what is Le Mensonné? Like, what is that? Like, that was one of the first fougere fragrances that I was introduced to through you. And then we're going to talk about this one. This is because of you. Vintage, Jean Varvatos Vintage. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So there were certain fragrances that I started to pay attention because you. So I wanted to tell you, like, my first experience was I was confused by you.
A little prickly, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't really know what we were getting at, but you definitely had my interest because I am a person in my real life, my day-to-day life. I don't like to go with the trends, right? I don't like to go with what everybody else is doing just because everybody else is doing it. I want to walk my own path. I'm going to be honest. I want it to be obvious. I want it to be obvious that I'm walking in my own path and doing my own lane, but yet and still, we're not at the point yet where I've decided to do YouTube videos, and we'll get to that in a second. So I want to thank the chat going on. We have 206 people in this live right now. This is the biggest live stream attendance that I have had thus far. I just want to say thank you to everybody joining me and Justin tonight. Hit that thumbs up if you have not already. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate the love. I definitely want to shout out the super chat, Mr. Monte Lee. He's asking, what are our thoughts on Toomey 19 Degree? Have you used it at all outside of your first review impressions? I picked it up recently, and it's my new favorite frag, replacing Tom Ford Oud Wood. Wow. Well, Justin, I know you have experience with the fragrance, and so do I, but I'm going to let you start there with Toomey 19 Degree.
Yeah, in fact, I feel like I'm sitting next to a cabinet right now, and it's actually too far in the back for me to reach it. But I have worn it a couple times. I haven't included it in any content since I did a first impressions video. To me, I find it intriguing. I do find it to be, I guess, sitting on the borderline of mainstream, but not fully. There's something peculiar about it that intrigues me. I have some weird scent association with it. I don't even know how to describe it, where it triggers something in my head where I'm like, I don't know if I love that part. But as a whole, it's a great scent. I see why people enjoy it. And frankly, I just need to get to know it a little better.
I'm with you. In the beginning stages, I was just like you. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I like this. But I was very interested in it because it was a unique profile for a designer. And I love the bottle. The bottle was very nice, very clean.
So good quality. Yeah,
it is. And I started to wear it. And I said, I'm going to wear this to the office. I'm going to keep wearing it. And I did. I kept wearing it. And now it's turned into one of my favorite office scents. That leather, that soft leather, that raspberry, that birch. It's a really unique scent. So, I mean, you can tell it's inspired by a few things out there in the past, but it's definitely something that you're not going to smell on other people every day. So it's really, really good. Toomey is doing a really good job, and they have some quality out there as well. So to answer your question, yes, we've had some experience. I've worn it to the office, and I've gained a lot of appreciation for sure in my collection. But thank you for the question, my man. Indeed. All right, so Justin, next question for you, my man. Being a content creator, I know this over time, and you've experienced this way more than me. How do you balance the positives and the negatives of being a YouTuber / content creator? Like, how do you handle both of them, positives and negatives?
Let's see. Yeah, that's good. I don't think I've ever gotten that question quite like that before.
Yeah, me.
I feel like, I appreciate you being thoughtful, man. I feel like in terms of positive and negatives, it can be really easy to have this this kind of micro perspective. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's like everything is right up in front of you. So when the positives are there, you're looking at them right here and you're like fixated on them. And then when it's negative, the negatives are completely taking up your view and all you see is negative. And it kind of, it can oscillate. And we're like oscillating between the two, you know, some days are better than others. You know, I guess we kind of have to define the positives and the negatives to really, I guess, create some clarity on this. But, you know, for example, like the positives of a YouTube channel, of being a YouTube creator, you know, building a community, building an audience who trusts your perspective, they value your opinion, and they also help you grow in terms of what you're trying to give to them, and they help you refine that constructively. And they don't seek to, you know, bring you down or make you feel bad about what you're doing, because we know those people are definitely out there. Sure. And it's usually from an internal place of misery. We don't need to talk about that. But that is, I guess that's kind of the negative side, is those other people on the other side of the tracks who do try to bring you down. And, you know, or maybe like a video you put a lot of time into doesn't do well, or, you know, it can be so much, you know, so much. Yeah. And I feel like at the end of the day, I try to get a macro approach. So I try to zoom out and see both together. So I'm not really having to balance anything. I'm just looking at the full picture. And by having some distance, which has taken me years to really start to do, it allows me to not be emotionally swayed one way or the other. I can kind of approach positive and negative coolly, like in a way that does not peak or valley with those positives and negatives. So I think a lot of that just comes from perspective. For me personally, I love what I do with my YouTube channel. I love the fragrance hobby. I love the fragrance industry in terms of, you know, brands who seek to give us things that challenge us or, you know, intrigue us or whatever. Like I love the gamut of it. However, especially when you become a YouTuber, a creator, it can kind of become everything for you, which is dangerous. That, I think, is where volatility really comes into play. So it's really ironic. As I've gotten deeper into the hobby, into my work as a creator, I've had to put more distance between me and it so that I don't necessarily identify with the results that come from it, whether positive or negative. Oh man, that's good. I can just assess everything all at once, and I can from there choose what I want to focus on. That's good. So nowadays, I don't even really focus on the negative. I'm just going to be real. If you come into my comments talking crazy, I am just going to block you. Like, and I struggled with that for a long time. You know, in years past, I feel like, well, it's the internet and this is a public forum and everyone has a voice. So I need to allow space for every voice. No. Kind of like what you do, just with the energy you put out. We have the agency to craft our culture that we want to have. And that is a filtering process. So that involves, if you're not fitting in with that culture and you are willfully staying out, there's other places you can go. You don't have to waste your time here. So I'm just blocking. I don't know how many comments I block these days. And whereas in years past, I would get way deep in it and like, no, and try to go back and forth, which never works. No one ever comes out on top. You know, so I hope that answers your question. No, it does. That's kind of the way I look at it these days.
No, it does. It's so relatable because I had some struggles with that, you know, even with me really being intentional with the space that I'm creating here. And the intent is positive energy. This is fun for people. This is information for people. This is I get people that comment me positively and say, man, this is my people break away from their jobs at work on lunch and break to check out my content. And I'm reading this stuff and I'm flabbergasted. Like, what? Like, you don't have anything else to do but watch me? Like, like on your lunch break, on your break. But then I start to take it as a responsibility because it's like, I enjoy what I do. I love making videos. I love the conversations and the morale that I have going on this channel and channels like yourself and Ross and EQ and people who I watch on a consistent basis. And I just decided that I'm going to be in control of my house. I'm going to be in control of my house. So like you said perfectly, if you come in here and you decide that you want to try to make things messy after I just vacuum, did the dishes and all those things, I'm going to walk you to the front door and I'm going to close it behind you. So to hear you say in that regards is spot on. And I know there's a lot of content creators in the chat tonight who have been commenting about just what you said of it's great information to hear it from someone who's been doing this for so long. Your following and your audience is so massive. And I can only imagine when you drop content, the volume that comes your way, positively and negative. So that's why I, thought of the question and thought it'd be something really good to ask you, for sure. So thank you for that answer. No doubt.
No, my pleasure.
I see everybody in the chat. I see all the questions, everything. My guy, William. Yes. Ever in the chat, everyone in the chat needs to subscribe to Sips and Sniffs. Shout out to my guys, Jason and James over at Sips and Sniffs Upstart channel. Great guys, my brothers. They show a lot of love. Y'all definitely. I'm gonna put the information in the description of this chat, and y'all check them out, man. They do some excellent live stream content. Shout out to my guys, Jason and Jims for sure. All right. So Justin, man, it's so dope that you're here, man. It's so dope that you're here. I'm really glad that we're able to do this. So I want to get into some fun stuff here. I know a lot of people are going to want me to talk about the opportunity that you had to create your own fragrances. So quick little story. My birthday just passed on May the 8th. I turned 40 years old this year.
Oh my goodness. Happy belated birthday, man.
Thank you very, very much. And one of my brothers in the chat, the Bishop, Jared Miller, surprised me with a surprise of all surprises. And for my birthday, man, this is what he gifted me, Justin. This is what he gifted me. Brass.
I had a feeling. Oh, man. I can only imagine what he had to go through to get that. If he bought it and it's not from his own personal collection, that is.
I was so floored when I opened up that box and this was in there. And I didn't know there was a Zed Creators 1 in the first place. When I first started content, I didn't know. So when I started watching your video and Ross's videos, I said, what are these fragrances that they're talking about? Who is Zaharoff? At that time, I'm calling it Zaharoff. I'm not even saying it the right way. And I'm like, who are these guys? Like, they're making their own fragrances and they look super dope. And I'm watching the content and I'm digging deeper into the comment. And then I said, wait a minute. Ross and Justin are cool. Like they're together. Like I didn't know all this stuff because I'm coming in at a time point where I'm brand new. Like I'm a brand new prospect to Fragcom. So the fact that this made it to me, wow, you gifted me this about a year ago. What is it, a year and a half ago, maybe? I think
it was October 22. I feel like that came out. So
almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. This was a total surprise that this was in the box. Ross sent me Evening Mystique, and this was in the box. And I said, wait a second. Now, this has turned into, if you saw my video today, this is in my top 10 all time. The best modern barbershop Fougere style fragrance that I possess. Man. So, Justin, I would love to hear your thoughts. And I know you've talked about this over and over again, but I'm guessing that you don't mind talking about your creations. So, Justin, Brass and Soul, Second Soul, your time creating these fragrances. Shout out to your lovely wife, Grace. I was there for the full rollout for this one. So it was really dope to see that. But if you don't mind, if you just would speak on your creations of Brass and Soul and Second Soul.
Man, wow. Well, yeah, first of all, I'm just honored that, you know, the fragrances, they resonate with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I did see your video today.
Thank you.
And hearing the words you had to say about Second Soul, I was just like, dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
You know, this could be a long story, and I'm going to try to not make it too long.
It's all good.
You know, to sum it up, I'll try to split it down the middle in terms of Brass and Soul and Second Soul. So Brass and Soul, you know, George approached me and several other creators, Ross being one of them, of course, and just basically said, hey, I want to give you guys an opportunity to create your own fragrance from the ground up using Zaharoff's resources. I'm like, okay, wow. I've never done that before. That's scary, but cool, but scary. So Nat, you know, honestly, at the outset of it, I felt very self-conscious. I was so nervous. I'm like, how do I ensure that I am going to create a good product of good quality when I've never done this before? So it was luckily a collaboration. So I didn't have to do it by myself. I was working with a very skilled perfumer, Vincent Kuczynski, lives out on the East Coast. And we would talk on the phone. I had to write up a brief. And the idea behind Brass and Soul was I just wanted to merge music and fragrance together. Music's a big part of my life. I've been a musician for the better part of almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I do play professionally these days, but I wanted to like take a snapshot in time of what it's like for me to perform on a jazz performance and put that in a bottle.
Wow.
And capture the environment, capture my emotions, capture the sensations, and put it in this scent experience that kind of unfolds in the way that a performance might unfold. So that's what I sought out to do. And with Vincent, again, we did a lot of back and forth. I sent him that idea. He sent me some interpretations out of that idea. We tweaked and refined one of those interpretations until we ended up with Brass and Soul. Okay. And from there, I was very excited. I'm like, oh, wow, I like this product, you know, but you never know what, you know, the liking of it will be outside of your own liking of it. It's like, I like it, but outside of me, is everyone going to think this is whack? Like, I hope not. So it releases, and the response was incredible.
Wow.
And I don't mean that in like, everyone loved it and it was just a volcano of joy or anything. Like there was a lot of that, but George had warned us ahead of time. He's like, guys, I just want you to know that releasing an original fragrance to the world is like, and he puts it a little bit more colorfully, but I'll try to censor it here. Showing your bare butt to the world and having them critique it.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, we'll see about that. And then we released it and I'm like, he's right.
Right. Right.
So I saw a variety of reviews coming in of people saying, this is so good. This is incredible. Yeah. I love the wearing experience. It unfolds in just the way Justin described in his video. I love it. I'm going to wear it a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of the tracks. Of course, people saying this just smells like soap.
Yeah.
And it's gone after 3 hours. Or this is not what I expected from Justin Copeland. He's supposed to be this dark, sultry, phantom of a figure, and this is fresh, and it doesn't work. Right. So it was such a learning experience for me to filter all of that feedback and really like ground myself in what I know is true, and to just kind of like be able to, again, focus on what I want to focus on, as I was talking about earlier. It was a good practice for that. So we sell it out, which is great.
Yes.
That was the whole plan. And it was amazing.
Awesome.
And then even to this day,
awesome.
There's still like reverberations of Brass and Soul. I still see people saying, I got like this much left of my bottle. I'm like freaking out, or I'm glad I have a backup or whatever. Or people saying, is it coming back? And I'm like, no, it's not,
Right.
So Second Soul, the
Yes,
opportunity
Second
comes
Soul.
around to do it again.
Yes.
And again, it was totally up to us what we wanted to create from the ground up. So I'm
That's
like,
so
you know
dope.
what?
So
Why not
dope.
make a flanker? Why not make a follow-up?
So dope.
You know, there's more to be had in this story. So the story of Second Soul is directly sequential to Brass and Soul, even chronologically. So Brass and Soul was the first set of music. It's like the first half of the performance, which starts and ends. Second Soul is the second half. And it's just a different vibe. You know, the
Yes.
room, as the night goes on, the room clears out a little bit more. The candles are burning a little bit more dimly.
Dope.
There's just a darker, you know, more mysterious mood, at least comparative to the original.
Yes.
And the name Second Soul was intended to have three meanings, even though it's a very simple name. Number one, it is the second Brass and Soul. So by nature, you see Second Soul, you're like, oh yeah, I see how it's connected to that name.
Right.
The second is that it is the second set of music. So, and everything that comes with that. And third, in the narrative, there is a woman in the room. In my case, it's my wife,
right,
who I didn't see before. So she is literally a second soul,
man,
in the room.
Dope.
And so, in addition to being a continuation of the story, it's also an homage to her because we had just gotten married a few months prior to the release of Second Soul. And yeah, I think that kind of sums up the stories behind them and kind of what connects them together.
I'm such a fan of this. And when I first got it in, I first of all, I didn't know I was getting it. That's number one.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I had plans on purchasing this and Evening Mystique until I got those messages from Ross that day. So smelling this and wearing this, I was at a point in my life where my nose was really maturing, getting away from the bubblegummy. I ain't gonna say get away, but I didn't really want to invest into the bubblegummy, mass appealing stuff on a daily basis.
Yes, for
I
sure.
wanted some different things that were going to identify me by when I smelled it, and then when I'm out and about. And when I wore this to work for the very first time, it was in the fall time. It was still a little cool out. Really cool out in October, November-ish. And when I put it on, man, it's one of those few instant connections with a fragrance that I've ever had. The car ride, when I was driving, I was like, whoa, it felt like you made this fragrance for me. But I know that you made it, out of your mind and your, everything that you have within you and what's around you. But I felt like you made it for me. So wearing it, I knew all along, I knew after a while that the connection of this, it had to be something that I wasn't going to experience again because it was that good. I said, this is the only time I'm going to feel like this about a fragrance. But I kept wearing, I'm telling you, like I'm not trying to gas anything up. Like this is a legit, and this is me understanding fougere, barbershop, and all of that around the same time. At the same time. So I was like, how did Justin, how did Ross, how did they compile all of this and create these? And shout out to George for allowing you guys to create something from within to give to the people. Like, that's the dopest part of it all. Like, this experience that y'all had, I'm sure y'all understand how unique it is, but no, really, Justin, do you really understand how unique that experience is? That's what I think. Like, that's what I think when I smell this. So I want to say a big shout out to Second Soul. I have a full bottle, and I'm gonna wear this sparingly because this is all I'll get because it's sold out. Like, the fragrances are gone, but I'm so grateful to have a bottle. But then, and we're gonna move on, but I have to say this because I don't know the next time I'm going to get to share a screen with you. So giving you your flowers for what you created. This right here totally made me understand And I'm glad that I got to wear Second Soul first. I'm glad that I did. So for me to come back around to the beginning and smell Brass and Soul, I was immediately able to connect everything.
Wow.
I get it. This is superb quality, clean, fresh. The juniper berry in here is really nice. And it just really transcends beautifully throughout the day. Now, I don't know about people who get 2 hours. I don't. I get a full day's wear. And normally my work days are around 9-10 hours.
Yeah.
And this is something that was with me. So I've only been able to wear this once because this is definitely going to get worn very, very sparingly.
Yeah.
But for you to have the opportunity and to create these and put them out into the fragrance world, into the world in general, just salute to you, man, because one of a kind experiences wearing your fragrances for sure. So salute to you, Justin. So I definitely want to show you some love, man. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. And it could not have been done without George Zaharoff.
Absolutely.
He had his creative hand in both fragrances for sure. And just real quickly, George was responsible for the presentation for both fragrances. That was his mind. For Brass and Soul, his idea was, let's make like a leather, like the leather bag. So it's like where the trumpet goes in. And I'm like, that's brilliant. So that the front of the box, I don't know if it came with the box.
Yes.
It looks like this leather. It's supposed to represent that. And the second, when I told George my whole idea of the triple entendre and my wife involved and all that, he was like, what do you think of a mirror? And I was like, what do you mean by that? I mean, I think it's good, but what do you mean? He's like, well, this idea of second soul, this idea of like a soul reflection.
Crazy. He killed that one.
So we ran with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, George, I will follow your lead on that one. And he was like, I'm going to get this done. So he creates the idea for the box being a straight up mirror, which I can't even tell you the process of getting those plates and the quality that they're in.
Amazing.
On boxes, keeping them there and making sure they don't break in transit. Guys, what goes into crafting even the presentation, especially with Zaharoff, who does not spare expenses.
No,
it is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. And then these plates on the bottles, which is something George started doing even before the Second Z creators for his own fragrances. When he had the idea to make it a mirror plate on Second Soul, and it came in, he sent me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. So shout out to George Zaharoff and his creativity and his courageousness.
Absolutely.
For things like that.
And the coolest part of the whole presentation is the mirror cloth. That was a brilliant touch.
Honestly, that came from me waking up in the middle of the night, kind of in a cold sweat.
Okay.
Like shortly before launch, maybe a month before launch. I'm like, people are going to complain about smudges.
Wow.
So I texted George the next morning, like, George, is it possible to get a cloth in the box? He's like, yep. And that was that.
That was it.
Yeah. He's like, that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Definitely shout out to George Zaharoff, man. Brilliant mind. Incredible house. Incredible. I'm a huge fan of Zaharoff. And my first ever fragrances that I smelled from the house were Evening Mystique and Second Soul. So that was a great introduction, and I've taken off since. Royal X, Triple X, Signature Rose, all of them, we got them. So they smell fantastic. So
yes, indeed.
We still have 200 strong in the chat. This is incredible. We are almost at the hour mark. I got 2 more questions for Justin because I'm not going to take up too much of his time. Again, thank you, Justin, for being here with us tonight. We have some super chats I definitely want to acknowledge. Ross comes back at us again. Told you Justin was a live stream magnet. I see that. I see that, man.
Ross, I'm glad to know I'm a tool for you.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out John Carlo. Peace, love, and respect. Same to you, John. Thank you for watching. Callie's Groom Room. Happy 40th birthday. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Very much. E. Jean in the house. Brass and Soul is fire. Yes, it is. I have 2 bottles of Second Soul. Lucky you. Enjoy those, my man. Hidden Gems, my guy in the house. Much love to you both. Enjoyed the live, and I'm loving the stories, history, and background of you two. and while you're in the community, love this. Thank you, James. I appreciate the love for
Thank
sure,
you.
my man. Thank you very much. So let's have a little bit more fun. Justin, I want to show you and talk about some of the fragrances that you inspired me by just speaking of them to look into and try. Okay. So some of these I sampled and then got a full bottle, but some of these were just straight up full blind buys because the way you were talking, and you know how it goes. You know how it goes. I said, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. So first up, I got lucky and found this in a rack store after watching one of your videos. And you were talking about this so heavenly. And I said, I gotta try this. And we're talking about probably the fragrance that gets hated on the most on my channel, but it's one of my top fragrances.
Really?
John Varvatos Vintage.
What are people saying with the hate? Are they talking about performance?
The performance, it smells like an old man. You smell like a grandpa, just silly stuff like that. So
more for us, that's all right.
When I smelled this for the first time, I said, how come I paid $30 for this in raw? I didn't understand. I didn't understand how. I didn't understand how I was able to pay $30 for this fragrance. It was something at the time while I was transitioning into other things. The spices, how smooth it was, that fougere feel to the fragrance. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And when I first got this, with the collection grows over time, but I've used a quarter of this bottle, and wearing it to the office during the fall is like a staple. Yes. And I just enjoy it. It's very special. So because of you and the way that you spoke about it, walking into a Ross on a random Saturday, and it was there in a gift set. And I purchased that. And I also purchased the original Artisan. They were sitting right there, and I grabbed them. But this one has been something that I always go back to. And because of the way that you made me think about it, and I saw it, and you did say in the videos, look, it ain't going to be for everybody. But this is a classic. It has style, it has class, and you never lie. Because on a typical day when I go to work, man, I got to wear slacks, I got to wear a button up, I got to wear some hard bottoms. So I'm wearing types of fragrances that kind of match my vibe when I'm walking into the building. And what other fragrance that can match that vibe?
Perfect. And as you said, in the fall time, it's
incredible.
Prime.
It's incredible. All right, next up for me. And I was scared to death of this thing when I smelled it for the first time. And I smelled it at my local Nordstrom's, and then I ordered a sample because I wasn't sure. And when I got the sample, I wore it outside on a very warm day, and I said, oh, yeah, I need to get this. The original Terre d'Hermes.
Oh, yes.
The original Terre d'Hermes. Look at that dent, man.
Wow.
Look at that
is
dent.
some wear for sure.
Now, I've only had this for a year.
Wow.
I've only had this for a year. 1 year.
Has this also become an office staple for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wore it Tuesday.
Yeah. There you go.
So when I first smelled it, I never smelled a windy, bitter citrus in a fragrance ever. Now you're talking about a guy who's a YSLY veteran, a Blue Chanel hero. All that, I come from all of that, but this is the type of fragrance that challenged me. It challenged me, and I got a sample. I wore it, and then I caught me a bottle very, very soon after because of what it did, and then it taught me a lesson. I got out in the world, and I started, I wore these fragrances, and I moved around with them, and how they work in 4 hours versus the 6 hour mark, and this is one of those fragrances. So Hermes, the original, Terre d'Hermes original EDT, fantastic. Wow. And it drove me to wanting to try more for Hermes, like H24. H24.
Oh,
EDP.
yes. Oh, yes.
EDP, man. So,
Hermes is solid.
2 more, and one, the Sear Toxique. The Sear Toxique. You kept on saying Leighton's big bro, Leighton's more established sibling or older. And I'm like, what does he mean by that? What? Because I love Leighton. Like, what is he talking about? What is he? So I blind bought it.
Okay.
I saw it on fragrance by.ca. They were having it it was a really good price. I got it for like $110 or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good price.
And I got it in. And when I smelled it, I said, what? Like, what is going on here? I said, hold on, I need to kind of step away. So I went and got my Leighton, and then I got this, but it's the same thing. Like I just said, I wore it out into the world.
Yeah.
And the cinnamon and that green cannabis was a new thing for me. So mixing it in with the cinnamon and that tardy black currant up top, it just ended up being smooth, sophisticated, adultish,
yes,
grownish.
definitely.
And I like wearing this more than Leighton because what it provides, it gives me a lot more layers to peel back. Leighton is great.
Yeah,
Leighton is great.
That's awesome.
But this is incredible. It's
If I had to
incredible.
pick between one of the two for life, it's like I gotta go with
It's
this.
a tough one. But I feel
it's tough. Leighton is fantastic, and I go way back with it. But DEDRICK, just as you said, has those layers to it.
It's fantastic.
Can't beat it.
And last but not least, I got to shout out my wife because I didn't know she was paying attention to this stuff like this. So we celebrated our 10-year anniversary of marriage last summer.
Okay.
And she said, I got you something. I said, okay. So she said, it's here. So I said, okay. So I got it and I opened it up and it was a Nichane box. And I had been mentioning this fragrance that I want to try this. I want to try this. No one's speaking to this except Justin. No one's talking to this about this except Justin. And she purchased me Popular for our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Got the big boy too.
Yes, the big boy. Yes. And I was so blown away that she was just, of course it's my wife. I know she's paying attention and seeing what I'm doing. But Poppy Lafico, I mean, like, come on.
It's off the beaten path,
This is like an ambery, fougere, spice type of concoction here.
Yeah.
And it is so good.
Yes, it's so classy,
mature.
man.
Yes, so mature. Oh my God, I just had to smell it. So mature, so classy, in a lane of its own. And I have a lot from Nichane. I have a lot from the house. But this is just in a class in its own, like with Fan Your Flames. Those are two that are just kind of sit by themselves from what I've experienced thus far. And so this is a special one for me because my wife was just, she was paying attention to what I had going on, and Popular Fico. So those are amazing. Those are some of the fragrances, man, that and so many more that you've inspired. But those are the ones I think about, man. So really good stuff. Sure.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, just like you do, so much of the energy we put in to our channel and the videos we make is love. We're trying to spread and share love, and meaning we're trying to share what we love, like share what we discovered. Like, man, I didn't know that it could smell like this, and what it does to me. I got to share this, And so you amass this catalog of just like you sharing stuff you love over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. That's ultimately what we're doing here.
Super dope.
Making videos. We're just like, hey, this is a little bit of my heart in scent form.
Yes.
Check it out. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. But this is me.
Yes. Yes. Just an incredible, like what you provoke. I mean, the thought provoking content. Custom Copeland. It was incredible.
Oh man,
I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on the series and I encourage y'all. He has them in a playlist form. Yeah. And if you guys haven't seen this series, I highly recommend it because you learn a lot about yourself. I learned a lot about myself when he started it. And in the first episode, I said, oh my God. Like
I felt like I had lost my mind when I started that series, but I think I got it together as I went through.
It was phenomenal up until the ending. And that trailer that you put out before you dropped the final episode, seriously, how did you do that? The production on that was insane. insane. And I said to myself, I said, wow, Justin's out here hiring film crews.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was really good, man. So if you haven't seen it, the Custon Joplin, was it Custon Joplin?
Custon Joplin is the character. Yeah.
Gotta check them out. So, Justin, I'm not going to hold you that much longer. I have one more question that I want to ask you. And again, thank you for everybody. We are still 200 strong in the chat. We are a little over the hour mark. I know all my guys out there getting ready for the NBA Finals. Don't worry, I'll be joining you soon. But thank you guys for taking some time out and rocking with us tonight. Hit that thumbs up if you have not already. I have all Justin's information in the description, his Instagram and his YouTube channel. He is knocking at the door to 100K. I want to see him accomplish that. I know a lot of you do as well. So let's make sure that we're doing our part and showing support to Justin and his content, especially if you are a fan and you appreciate the content, because a lot of people watch videos and they're not subscribed to who they like to watch. So I'm guilty of it sometimes. It's something that we can do to show some love to Justin. So check out his information if you don't have it already. It is in the description of this stream. Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So last but not least, my man, I want to get away from fragrances for a second, because this is something that I've never heard you talk about. I've never heard you. You haven't been asked this, I don't think. And I'm curious. So I want to know, if possible, if you can give us this information. Justin, where did you grow up? How was growing up for you? And if you had an opportunity to go back to a particular young Justin, whichever Justin that was younger that you want to talk to, what would you want to say to that particular Justin?
Oh man, you're digging deep.
Yes, yes, sir.
I grew up in Central California, city of Fresno. That is, I was born in LA area, but raised in Fresno. Two wonderful parents. I got a twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah, fraternal twin. Yeah, wow. He's been on the channel several times, but it's been at least a couple years maybe since I've had him in a video.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, grew up, had a great upbringing, great childhood.
Awesome.
No real complaints at all. Yeah, studied music as a kid early on. I started on piano at age 7, picked up trumpet at age 12, and been doing that ever since. And as I said, that is a big part of my life. That is such a through line. Being an artist, being a musician, like that is a part of my identity for sure. So yeah, that kind of is the path up to this point. And in terms of talking to little Justin, oh man, I feel like I might, when I think about some of like the tumultuous moments of my life, I would say most of those moments took place in high school. It's really the first social experiment you're thrust into while you start to feel like you're becoming an adult. Middle school, you could say the same thing there, but you still kind of feel like a kid and you run around like a kid and you have, these more childish, fantasies and visions. But once you reach high school and you start kind of like looking at the future, I think in high school is when that starts to happen, or at least that's when we start to be asked, like, what do you want to do from this point on, kind of thing. I think, yeah, I struggled with just like my identity. Like, do I fit in? Am I cool? Am I a nerd? Like, I don't know, just not really any, a lot of people go through this, but I think I would go back and tell that Justin, authenticity is the best gift that you can give to the world, give to people, because that encompasses a lot of different things. It encompasses being honest. It encompasses being unapologetic about who you are and your values and what you stand for. it encompasses so much more that I can't even think about right now. But
Sure.
I felt like, you know, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, but there's this pressure to be a chameleon and to just wherever you are, just kind of become the people in that room or the people in that room. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that, if that persists all the way through life, you come out on the other end like, who am I kind of thing. So, yeah, I think I would tell younger Justin, like, hey, man, don't worry about it. Like, keep doing what you're doing and it's going to be fine. Like, you're going to end up, kind of molding into who you're supposed to be. And so, yeah, I think I was just afraid and I tell myself, don't be afraid. Just focus on the work, focus on respecting and loving people. And it'll come.
Yep. And I think that's a lot of our stories when we get to a certain point. So the reason why I asked the question is because a lot of times everybody wants to know what's going on right now. What do you got going on right now? What's going on? What's going on? What you're doing is, but a lot of times, some people, they don't get the chance to reflect. So as I was preparing to have you on, I said, man, I want to ask Justin some questions that's going to make him go back and see if he can, well, not see if he can, obviously I know you can, tie it into, just real life time for you right now. You've had a lot going on. And just for me watching you over the past few years visually on screen, I mean, you've moved, you've gotten married, just a lot of different content has really, you can see your content is helping evolve you personally as well, because
definitely
your tone, your tone and certain things change from, being really nice to being whatever, You're
kind of right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that, with certain things, man. So that's why I wanted to ask you some questions like that to kind of see, the answers that, you're getting. People, people really love you, man. People really got a lot of respect for you. I mean, especially, man, we're 200 strong, basically this whole stream, and all these people came out to, really hear what you have to say and, see the type of, conversations that me and you were going to have tonight. So I felt like it'll be a great time for people to get to know you a little bit better. I mention you all the time in my videos and in my live streams. And somebody, for me, you've inspired me, man, to really create my own lane. Create my own lane and stay in that lane and really challenge the way that I even deliver content. So I do a lot of talk pieces in my videos, and I have different conversations around fragrance than your typical smell this because it has raspberry in it. It's good.
Totally.
Stuff like that. So and I think that's a big time thing, because let's call it what it is. Fragcom is growing fast.
Exponential, so many people, for sure.
Yes. People are really tapping into this hobby. And the content creators are coming strong. The brands are coming strong. There's a lot going on. And I don't want to be on the outside. I want to be a part of the core. I want to be a part of the core. And you are a core guy. Ross is a core guy. Bowtie is a core guy. You're the guys that I know y'all love this stuff. I know y'all love this stuff. I know y'all have a real connection and a passion. So, man, I just want to say that to you while having the opportunity, like a lot of things that I've said to you tonight, giving you your flowers, just kind of having that type of conversation with you tonight, man. So I really, really appreciate your time being here. I'm sure you could have been doing a million other things, but you saw fit to, make some time for us here over at the Smell Good family and have a conversation, man. So any final remarks, man, before we get ready to shut this down?
Well, Dedrick, I just want to thank you for having me once again. It has been a joy to see your growth, not only in terms of numbers, in terms of width on your channel, but as you were just talking about, in terms of, just self-growth, how you grow through the consistent persistence of a pursuit.
Yes.
And to see you refining, the type of videos you put out, how you present information, how you engage with your audience.
Yes.
And, honestly, to have the kind of growth you have in the amount of time you have is astounding. I don't know if it feels that way or not, but
It
you know,
feels
when
crazy.
I think, yeah, I mean, when I think back to my journey, you know, 3 years in, I feel like I think I had barely touched 10K.
Okay.
And I mean, you know, comparison is honestly not really necessary, but you know, I do think it's important to take a close look and see like, man, what are people doing that's working? And when I look at what you're doing with your channel, it's everything I just described, and
Yes,
it
sir.
shows. And yeah, I remember when you hit 10K, it didn't feel like it was that long ago. And I was like, dang, this boy's almost at 20 at this point, which is
Yeah.
amazing. It's so great to see, especially to see authenticity rewarded, because that is not usually how things go in
No.
popular spaces. Authenticity is shunned a lot of
Yeah.
the time. And so anyway, I just want to thank everyone for being here, for showing up, for, you know, commenting, engaging. I see people are really about these finals that are coming, Boston
Yeah.
and the Mavericks and all that. That's funny.
Yeah.
About to get cooked. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And yeah, and it's just an honor to speak to you all and be able to share some thoughts and share, you know, a little bit of my heart with you all. And again,
Thank you.
thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you today.
Man, I appreciate it, man. We had 2 super chats and we're going to shut it down. Monier as I just wanted to recommend Fisher's Son Foltholt. I've never heard of that one. My man smells like
Me
breezy
neither.
Icelandic coastline. With the fire burning in the distance to me. Well, that sounds really
Wow.
interesting, but I've never
Very
heard of that
artistic.
brand before, man. I have to, you know, visit that as I watch this replay and type that in. So thank you for the recommendation and the $5 super chat. Thank you very, very much. And then Ross showing incredible amount of love tonight, my man. I want to be like Dedrick and Justin when I grow up. Stop it, man. Stop it, man. Shout out to my brother Ross, man. FWO for life for sure. And Miss Heather showing love. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Miss Heather. See what you did there, Slim Shady. So shout out to my dear friend Miss Heather for sure for showing love. Well, everyone, thank you guys so much for coming through tonight. I know the chat is buzzing like crazy, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to everybody's questions. I'll work on a later date getting Justin back on for Q&A, and we could do some direct questions from you guys. Yeah. So again, sorry for everybody who was trying to get some questions off in the chat, but I do appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for coming out tonight. I had a blast. This is a really dope moment for me because, like I said, having conversations with Ross, having conversations with Justin, these are the guys that made me believe that I could do this. These are the guys that I watched and said, look at these dudes. Like, I think I can do this. I want to do this. I love fragrance. And just to think my journey started off as a joke. My friend said, hey, I bet you, hey, you should do a fragrance review. I said, what? You should do a fragrance review. And you're talking about somebody who was doing like sneaker content at the time. And I have a background with, you know, videography and photography and music engineer. Like I have a background in that. So I wasn't shy about creating content. So my story is a little bit different. But I said, you know what? I love this Versace Eros Flame, and I'm going to talk about it. So made a video.
Awesome.
I sent it to my friends, and they said, you know what? We were just kind of messing around, but this is fire.
Yes, indeed. And off to the races from there.
I said, okay. Okay. So that's where it was. So Bishop, thank you for the super chat. Stay Fresh collaboration.
I want to do a big shout out to Jared. Bishop, man, he works tirelessly in the cracks, behind the scenes.
Incredible guy.
In ways that, you know, we don't even deserve.
Amen.
And this, you know, this man, he works for free, you know. So Jared, we appreciate you and everything that you do. For sure. I see your wife just made a great comment here.
You made his day, Justin Copeland. Thank you so much for the support. Man. Look, it's the truth, man. I really appreciate what you do. And I have taken a liking, man, to coming home. Let's see if my guys are on. Let's see what Ross. Let's see what Justin goes on. And I watch y'all. I don't watch everybody. You know, you get to a point where I make the content. I don't want to, you know, sit around and you know what I'm saying? But there's certain people that I just connect with. And it's been you two from the start. So I definitely appreciate it. So everybody have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the NBA Finals game 1 tonight. Have some fun. Get your rest. Have a great day Friday, work day, off day, chill day, whatever you got going on tomorrow. Beautiful weekend. Enjoy. As I tell y'all all the time, hey, if you got to take time for yourself, take time for yourself. If you're going to go out and have a blast, go have a blast. But y'all be safe out there and just try to enjoy life. You know, sometimes we just really take these seconds for granted. These seconds for granted, man. So try your best to live it up, be positive, and have a really great weekend. I'm planning on coming back Saturday. We'll see. I'll see what my wife got going on. You know how that go. I got to make sure everything is cool. But me and the bishop could be back talking about Seraphine Blue from the new release from Zaharoff. So I'll let y'all know very, very soon if that's going to happen. Just look out for the thumbnail. And again, Justin Copeland, thank you again, my man. Truly a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Until next time, y'all be cool. Y'all be safe. Y'all take care of yourselves. Y'all know what we do here. Splack it up, splack it down, splack it that thing all around. And remember, what you put out into this world is exactly what you are going to get back. So be very careful of that nasty, stinking energy that you want to roll out. Because if you walk out of your front door tomorrow and that energy is looking you back in the face, you might want to have a conversation with yourself. All right. So peace. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all on the next one. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Splackle.